You're listening to Free Zone Radio.
Everybody's got an opinion, but not everybody has the facts. For Free Zone Radio, this is With Honors, Season 2. We're wrangling again with social commentary and literature, and with that familiar leap between what happens inside this classroom and what's happening beyond it. That bridge has always mattered to me. It's easy to fall into sit and get teaching, where notes get copied and your quizzes get taken, and we all pretend something meaningful happened. But the goal has never just been to cover the info. The goal has been connection, to help students see what we read and what we discuss and what we argue about here has everything to do with the news they scroll past, or the TikToks they watch, the video games they create and play, the music they absorb, and the arguments they hear online and at the dinner table. Past and present talk to each other a lot more than we like to admit, and they will again when these kids are grown and running things. The challenge is that many students, through no real fault of their own, don't have much of a frame of reference for the world they're already forming strong opinions about. And that's not meant to be a kids these days complaint. It's just a reality. Ask them where England is on a map. Ask them who Cain and Abel were. Ask them what ICE stands for, or who their governor is, or who represents them in the Senate. Ask them to list out the Bill of Rights, or what Martin Luther King Jr. achieved. It's just really revealing about what we know or what we don't know about the world. Now, to be fair, a lot of adults I know would struggle with those questions too. But what we don't struggle with, is having an opinion. We're fast with outrage, we're so quick with our certainty, we're fluent in repeating the same talking points that we've heard before. But when someone asks you for specifics, for dates or names, or when did that happen, or what are you mad about, specifically what happened here, the confidence thins out, and you see them sweat, or they stall, or they start circling back. In class, I'm relentless about evidence. I tell students to point back to the text. I scrawl BS on their essays, and I tell them it means be specific. When someone says, "I just feel like," without backing it up, I warn them not to chicken bone their argument. Don't invent support. Don't overreach for what isn't there. Don't pretend certainty when there is none. The trouble is that social commentary doesn't sit still long enough to annotate neatly. Not nowadays, it doesn't. One week it's a government shutdown. The next week it's a congressional standoff, or a marathon speech on the Senate floor, or leaked names, protests in Minneapolis, people who've been shot by agents not accountable to the law, civil unrest about which Super Bowl halftime show you're in support of. And suddenly, it's about Greenland. Greenland. Where even is that? Well, a neighboring class taught by Miss Lewis shares many of our students, and she posed a simple challenge to debate the pros and cons of the U.S.-Greenland issue. But first, you had to prove you know where Greenland is, and you had to know why Greenland matters to the world. From there, students were split into debate teams on the growing tensions between the U.S. and our longtime ally. Whether you and your family agree with the current administration or not, these kids had to argue positions that were either for or against the forced annexation of Greenland. Now, that kind of constraint does something important. When you're forced to defend the opposite of what you believe, you either expose the weaknesses in that argument, making your own position even stronger, or you discover the soft spots of your own thinking and hopefully learn some empathy for the other side. Sometimes we get both. In today's episode, we replay that debate. Aubrey, Addy, Gracie, and Kaylyn all sat down to wrestle with the research they understand, or what they think they understand, about the U.S. and Greenland. Now, at times, their argument flowed easily, and at other moments, they were pushing a position uphill, aware that it might slide right back down. Well, that struggle with social issues is the point. This isn't about winning. It's about learning to see the human on the other side of an argument and learning how not to chicken bone your way through the world when the questions keep getting harder and the stakes keep getting higher.
Hi, my name is Kaylyn. I'm a senior, and I do color guard.
Hey, I'm Gracie. I'm a senior. I also did color guard.
My name is Addy. I'm also a senior, and I'm on the cheer team.
My name is Aubrey, and I'm a senior too, and I'm in beta and student council. Today we're talking about the U.S. proposal to buy Greenland for our economics class. And to make it fair, since there are 4 of us, 2 of us are going to argue that buying Greenland would increase the national security and give the United States access to valuable resources, while the other 2 will argue that the U.S. should leave Greenland alone. And this is all contrary to our personal beliefs.
Just starting off straight to it, why should we or should we not buy Greenland? So Kaylyn and I are arguing that we should because we both believe that Greenland offers natural resources. It's got a really good geopolitical position.
So me and Addy are arguing that we should leave Greenland alone.
I just don't. I know a lot of people think that's it'll be better for military purposes and they have resources, but a lot of what I've looked at, we already use all of that stuff, and I feel like it would just do us more harm than good to go buy it.
Greenland's a really good place for infrastructure. And if we were to, I guess, quote unquote, buy Greenland, heavy quotations there, they would essentially become another state. So how would that hurt us? I mean, at first, I guess it would be a little rough because it's expensive, but.
Mm-hmm. So I see all of that, but I don't think we should, because not only are you buying Greenland, again, quotation marks, buying, but you're also buying the responsibility of taking care of their people and treating them like a state. So you're going to have to worry about taking care of their people, their infrastructure, and then long-term costs also come into play. That's both physically out of the taxpayers' pockets, but also what Americans will owe the Greenlanders because we took their independence away.
They're currently, they've been working for years on gaining, independence from Denmark, though, because in the past, Danish citizens have, a little bit of racism, almost like a white supremacist view on, Greenlandic women. For example, in the 1960s, they forcefully inserted IUDs into Greenlandic women and young girls in order to lower their birth rate. So why would it hurt them for our protection?
Well, okay, going based off what Gracie said, but kind of arguing it, a lot of what I've read up on is that Greenland, yes, they do want to become independent, but almost all of the people in Greenland they're arguing against the U.S. buying it because they don't want to be a part of everyone. And I have a quote here that I found that I'm just going to kind of say a little bit. It's from somebody in Greenland at a protest, and he said, "It upsets a lot of people, and I think a lot of it is this lack of respect that we feel coming out of the U.S. administration just going above our heads because they don't feel like their voice is being heard. And they want to be free from Greenland, but they don't want it to be by the U.S.
So, okay, when I really think about this, the more and more I think about it, obviously, yes, they are technically a part of Denmark, but in reality, they're kind of running their own deal. Greenland thinks they have their own culture, which we'll talk about that later, but if the U.S. is to take them over, and again, this is a question I'm kind of overstepping here, but they're going to lose some of that culture. They're going to lose, they're going to become a U.S. territory state.
But we don't want their culture. We want their territory.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're talking in terms of buying, I guess it suggests mutual consent, in which whoever, whenever there's a purchase, there's 2 sides. The person selling and the person buying, right? The person selling is going to be a representative for the rest of Greenland. So in the same way that our government represents us, I guess, not everyone might agree with it, but mutual benefit, mutual consent, why would it not hurt? Or why would it hurt versus why would it not benefit everyone? In long term, I would say it has more long-term benefits than just immediate. So I would understand immediate, there's going to be a raise of taxes in everyone. But if we're talking long term, I guess moving Greenland into a U.S. territory, U.S. state, I feel would just be beneficial.
I think if we're looking at it from a taxes sort of view, it would give a lot of American citizens, but also Greenland citizens, job opportunities to work like with like mines and everything with their natural resources.
Moving on to question 2, it says, what problem is buying Greenland supposed to solve? My answer to this was it's trying to solve fear. So if we were to buy Greenland, we have, obviously the U.S., especially middle class, we have a fear of Russia and China, but also losing the influence in the Arctic, because obviously that's going to be a big role in military. And so the ownership isn't the only way to deal with that, I don't think. I think there's a lot of different ways that we could use that base that we have in Greenland to, I guess, regulate Russia and China.
Right.
And I think there's a better way to deal with that than just buying it. I think it makes it worse if we try to buy them, because I would say that Russia and China are going to, obviously they're going to want to come in and try to, if we were to buy it, they're going to try to colonize more of the Arctic.
Okay.
And I think that will cause more problems for us right now than we're ready to deal with.
Okay, so Russia is really heavily militarized in the Arctic regions, and I just think that having like good military bases there and like owning that would be like better for like military surveillance, so we could like watch like missiles and everything. And like,
But if we're going to like bring Russia and China into this, if they're already trying to pursue Ukraine and Taiwan, what stops them from trying to pursue the Arctic? Why not us get to it first? Because they don't like us.
She does make a point. Russia does not like us at all. But I mean, in all honesty, I'm not sure they quite like anybody. They're just kind of over there.
They like themselves.
Yes, and half of the time they don't even like them. But I have another article here that I've read that it kind of has like a quote, and it's like kind of about Russia and kind of what they think of Trump is trying to do with it. And in this one, they say that Moscow has actually considered they've not criticized Trump on doing this at all.
Because
like
they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, like they've not said anything about it. They think it's a historic move by him, actually.
Huh.
Because this one and the title of it, it's like Russia thinks that Greenland would offer a solution to their Ukraine problem. I feel like in the news you see that like Trump and Russia talk a lot.
It's definitely
like they talk all the time. So I feel like Russia's kind of thinking, if they do it, we can slide in there somehow.
Right. And I also think that like begs our next question, if it's for national security or national ego. I'm going to say a national security, because once again, building off of military because of its position between North America and the Arctic, it's not only good for like military surveillance, but it's also good for access to the North Atlantic area, which if we're going to get into NATO, that's a different conversation.
I think they definitely are buying it for security reasons more so than their ego. But also I think if we do buy Greenland, it'll make us look like bigger to Russia and like kind of signal like dominance and like help our global status.
Like intimidation.
Yeah.
I did read somewhere that if we were to buy Greenland, we would be the second largest country under Russia.
Cool.
But I feel like, too, you can't really base a buy off of if it would make you a bigger country.
Definitely.
Yes.
Because, like, you can't...
I agree.
You can't base it off of, I want to be the big... Because I think it's going based off, he's doing this for ego. Because he wants to be bigger and badder than everybody. But he's not really doing it for any good reasons.
So, yes, I agree with some of the points y'all have made on the national security. But I said national ego. We already have military access there. It is not like U.S. has nothing to do with Greenland and all of a sudden we want to take them over. Buying it feels more like a power move here than a necessity. I feel like Greenland is more of a want to the U.S. than it is a necessity. I think it would be valuable, but at the same time, is it worth risking... I mean, alliances with Greenland already, with Denmark, NATO.
Going off of what you said, I do think even if it is just for national ego, would that not buff up our national security in turn?
I think that when asked, you have to pick one of these, national ego, national security, I would go with national ego.
The reason why it's being done?
I think there's more reasons to that, but I think that comes into play.
But would the outcome be national security? So why shouldn't we do it?
I don't know if you can fully argue national security, only because, and I know this is jumping the gun to NATO, a lot of what I've looked at on NATO is that a lot of the members of it, there's 32 different countries in NATO right now, and they get joined in all the time. and a lot of them already have sent people to Greenland to try to protect them because they don't think this is a good idea. And they've said that, like, this is one of the largest problems that they've ever had in NATO.
Right.
Because the U.S. is right now risking their alliance with NATO.
I was going to say national security. If I don't know, I can't give you. I guess China. Let's say China comes.
Okay.
If they try to like take us over, if we ruin our alliance with NATO because of Greenland, I mean that's going to cause a larger problem in the future.
But if we're going to bring NATO, I guess, whenever we're talking about the U.S. buying Greenland, we have to bring NATO into that conversation, not the linked to treaty.
100%.
The only way that it would really be disrupted is if it were to be non-consensual, aka not buying, meaning we invade. Hold on, I have a note here. Article 5 in NATO, it's like a mutual defense promise. It's basically saying an attack on one member is an attack on everyone in NATO.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be violated if we don't attack them. It would just be a purchase.
Now, okay, then we have to take into consideration buying them still not doing exactly what they don't want to happen.
But if we buy them, it's mutually done. If we invade them,
They're
would
not
be-
selling though.
well, not currently. Whenever they open their market up, someone just keep your eye on Amazon. Should the U.S. buy heavy quotations and bolded buy? Yes. Should we invade? No. If we were to invade, that would violate Article 5 of NATO. If we were to buy, that would not.
I know I mentioned the other day in class, I was like, the United States has, I really should have looked this up, but we're in so much debt.
Right.
A lot of debt. So it would make a lot more sense if we get that debt, we pay off the debt, and then we consider buying other countries.
Right.
Our national debt is sky high.
Talking about debt and in the terms of money, are we buying land or are we buying influence?
Trump is claiming that we're doing this for national security reasons, but other people... Did you guys know this is not the first time he's tried to do this? I read a CNN article about this, so who knows how true it is. His first term, he claimed that it was for natural resource reasons, because they do have a lot of natural resources.
Well, yeah.
But now he's claiming that it's for national security. So people are like, well, he can't ever decide a real reason that he's doing this. So I feel like it's more for influence, because it comes back to like the Russia thing of he wants to be bigger and badder, and he wants to make a point to everybody
Wants more
that
dominance,
he
yeah.
can do this. With his national security and like resource arguments, they're good arguments, but also we already have our military base over there. If we don't go into war, we're not going to need it. His resources, we already use a lot of it. Like I found something from the CEO of Greenland, and it's like there's no barriers between us. Like everyone is open to Greenland. If you ask to use something, you can use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why I want to buy it?
Yeah.
Is influence initially a bad thing, though? Because it doesn't have to be. Some influence is good.
That's actually influence that you buy, as in like we would be buying.
So more of like buying control.
Yes. Does just because we can ever justify a purchase like this?
Oh, I say no.
Okay, yeah.
I think that us buying Greenland would kind of just like show Russia and China and like all the countries that don't like us. It would show them that if we have like better military presence up in the Arctic, it'll show them like, okay, so we can't just mess with them whenever we want because we have military everywhere, we have eyes everywhere.
Yeah. I said, yeah, we should, because why not? I mean, just because we can, just because we can't. Have you guys seen that meme of that penguin? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The penguin one, they're running.
Yeah, the one where it's running towards the mountain. That's us running towards Greenland.
Yeah, yes. It's like the one where like he leaves everybody because like he knows he's going to die. Yes.
Yeah,
He's a
it's like free
penguin.
will.
Is it ethical for a powerful country to buy another country if both countries can benefit from it?
Yes.
Yes.
If they're both benefiting, I feel like
Why not?
what's the harm in it?
The ethical question, it goes back to the like citizens of Greenland. Do they want it? Do they not? But once again, going back to buying, which implies mutual consent, meaning they would, then yeah, mutual benefit.
Mutual benefit gets kind of murky. It's not really a fair negotiation.
I think for me, it's all about how you go about doing it.
So I think what makes like questions so murky between like the both of us is the fact that Trump was the one who proposed it. We're offering this. It's more of like, you're going to take our money and you're going to be happy with it.
So Trump has stated multiple times that he won't use force.
We could kind of like blend that into our next question. Is this just soft colonization? No.
Okay.
Look at you guys.
I said when decisions stop being made locally and start being made far away, I think that ownership replaces partnership.
I can see that because he wants to own them. 'Cause he's not listening to anybody else.
What is colonization? Colonization is like when a foreign power invades and then controls people through their land, culture, etc. And colonization is also heavily tied to culture. Once again, going back, do we want their culture?
No.
I don't think so. We want their land. But are we controlling their people through their land? Probably a little bit, but they'll also be a U.S. state. So
I think that the term soft colonization is exactly what it is.
I think
If the soft wasn't included, I'd say I disagree.
if we're looking at the reasons of why we would buy Greenland, natural resources, land, military, etc., what does that have to do with culture?
I feel like that's a point, but also if you're buying another country that's been fighting for independence for so long, like
Right.
especially from Denmark and everybody, you have to take into account that you're going to take away what little culture they're being allowed to have by Denmark.
Is it taking away culture though? Because I don't think Denmark really gives them any culture. They're kind of like their own individual thing. Buying is such a broad word, in my opinion. It's like there's a law that can go under that. If we were to buy you, these are the benefits that we get, but we could promise you this, this, and this.
I think looking at the culture aspect, if you look at like Hawaii, they're a U.S. state, but they still have like their own culture and their own way of doing things, kind of.
Are we working towards peace or just more future conflict?
Future conflict.
100% future conflict.
I think peace, because I mean, like in the long run, if we're looking at it from like a military standpoint, then like they're gonna see like, oh, their military's there, so they're not gonna want to start wars.
I think it depends if we decide to invade or buy. If we buy, I think it depends if it's like a peaceful procedure. If it's rocky, then it's going to raise some eyebrows and there's going to be some tension. In the long run, it could cause conflict. It's kind of one of those like, do I want to bite the nail or not? I'm going to flip the coin. It's like a gamble. If we buy Greenland and it turns out peaceful, everything goes smoothly, they're now a U.S. state, people could either take that as a threat or a way to be like, okay, let's bulk ourselves up and then try.
I agree with both of them. Like, and I agree with Gracie that it would depend on how we go about doing it. Because if we were to invade or have like a bad buy of Greenland, I think it'll cause so many problems right now. Because like if we lose our NATO alliance, I feel like that's going to open up an opportunity, and they're going to be like, okay, well, let's start a war because they don't have anything anymore.
Because
So
it
I
was
feel like-
attack on one, so it's attack on all. Yeah.
Yes, and that's going to cause a lot of problems right now that we may never really be able to overcome and come back
A recovery, yeah.
Yeah, I just said my one little thing that I had put here is big territorial moves usually don't calm anyone down.
I feel like it's either going to escalate really quickly or it's going to just be like kind of like a smooth ride. Like you're buying a new car. I hope the car like starts when I come home, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a gamble.
Who actually profits from this in the long run? I said mostly corporations and defense contractors.
That's what I said too. And I think if these big companies benefit so much from it, how do we benefit from it? Well, there's a theory that it's like money trickles down the pyramid like a ripple effect almost.
Yeah.
So if they benefit in the long run, money's going to go down the social classes.
Well, okay, so I was thinking more short-term benefits. Say that Greenlanders and regular middle-class tax-paying Americans are not
Right.
going to see that anytime soon.
I think, too, that in the long run, Greenland will definitely, like the Greenlanders will definitely, I don't think they'll ever benefit. Like,
Well, unless
All you're doing is taking their independence away and using their resources.
exactly.
But it's not like we're kind of like sucking the life out of them and then throw them aside like a vampire. They technically would be a U.S. state, so they're still getting the benefits that the U.S. gets because they are the U.S.
The benefits they have now, will it be better than what we are giving them to offer? And I feel like, too, the opportunities that it would allow us, would we go about those the correct way? And I mean that
Right.
in saying, would we take what we needed when we needed
Yes.
it, or would we use it all so fast that we would run out of it?
Which is, are there cheaper or more ethical ways to achieve the same goals that the U.S. wants?
Yes, there are.
I agree.
So there's this thing it's called Compact Free Association. It's basically where a country will give you financial assistance in turn for like military security, and it's much less costly. So it's like, why can't we do that for Greenland? Because of Denmark. That's the main thing, is if we were to buy Greenland, we would be buying it from Denmark. They've been trying to get independence from for years. Overall, it's just helping Greenland as long as they are okay with it. And when there are other things where it's like, oh, well, you can just invest in them. You can invest in their economy. You could have military cooperation with them. But the thing that holds us back once again is Denmark. So why not just buy them? Because that's a big umbrella of all of those things.
Would U.S. ownership protect Greenland's environment or exploit it?
Okay, I think that the U.S. would have like practices in place to not like exploit their land too much. Obviously, like the natural resources would be a big plus. We'd be getting like gas and oil and everything, but also we don't want to like run out or like use it in the wrong way or anything. So I think like they would be using their like benefits that they get, but they wouldn't like exploit it to the point of like running their land or their environment or anything.
I'm going to go off of what Kaylyn said really quick. With new time and a new era, we have realized climate change is bad. And with that, we have seen a lot of like technology come out that was like, hey, this is so much better. Why isn't it being put in place already? Because we'd have to replace everything that was already there if we were to take Greenland under our wings. Instead of implementing harmful technologies and infrastructure, we could go ahead and just implement those new technologies that are environment safe, environment healthy, and it would just be a much easier process. So is the land going to be a little diminished? Yes, but it's healthier.
I said that there'd be a huge pressure to mine and industrialize a really fragile environment. What does this debate reveal about how America sees itself?
I think America has a lot of confidence.
It definitely shows our ambition, but at the same time, what does it reveal about the world sees but us? I think a lot of the other world does. What are you doing? You look stupid, right? So, but once again, I mean, if we're going back to when we first came here as pilgrims, people thought we were stupid then too. So it just depends on the outcome.
I agree with what they said. I think the U.S. right now is trying to show like how big and bad that they are, but other countries, like Gracie said, the way they're looking at us, we're going to overreact because they've already sent military presence to Greenland to protect them from us.
We've definitely not built up the best image for ourselves to present something like
yes,
this.
100%. I think the whole thing just revolves around how America is still figuring out whether leadership means cooperation or control. And I know that that is extreme on both sides. And I think there's a good balance. But I also think that completely depends on the party, the parties that's in office, who the person is that's running the party.
There's definitely been a lot of events that have happened, especially in the last couple of years after COVID. Like it just seemed like it kept going uphill and uphill. I just think it was not a good time to propose something like this. I think that if it were to go smoothly, it would be a great opportunity. But if we were to do it right now,
it's a very large move, and it's not going to calm people down.
The wrong time. It's like the right thing, the wrong time.
I agree with that, but I feel like too, if we were to go about this the right way, and if we were to listen to the Greenland people and actually take the time to think this through, it could, in a way, not fix it completely, but make us look a little better because we're being sympathetic to those people.
And
You're
also,
like, hey,
if we could get ourselves together first. You don't want to accept help from someone who needs help themselves.
Exactly.
No, and you don't go impose tariffs on people to scare them. That's what he's doing right now.
Right.
Is imposing tariffs to scare them into buying it.
Okay. How do we wrap this up?
How do we wrap this
All
up?
right. Let's rate Greenland on a scale from 1 to 10.
All right. Greenland on the scale of 1 to 10.
Buying Greenland on a scale from 1 to 10.
Buying Greenland.
Being a 10.
Can we be honest now, or are we still?
Okay, let's be honest. I do not agree that we should buy Greenland. Why can't we just leave it alone?
I do not want Greenland.
With Honors is a Free Zone radio production, produced here in Sparta, Tennessee. And this episode was edited by Gracie Hines. You can find more of our shows here on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to great content. Check out our new show, Second Stage, premiering this season, as well as our brother podcast, A Deadman's Books and Haston Curation.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew, and I want to talk to you about my show, A Deadman's Books. The show was created with the mindset of whenever I pass away, as morbidly as that sounds, that my children would inherit my books. And of all the things that I'm going to pass down to them, I think that that's the one thing that I want them to make sure that they keep and go through on their own time. But I want to be there next to them whenever they read these things. And so I created a podcast so that they could go back and listen to me and my friends and other people as we read through these books and what we had to think about it. But it's grown to so much more. We've got authors we interview. We talk about everyday life. We talk about how literature connects to life. All of those things in one place. And now we want you to come along with us and join us. This is a podcast not just for my kids, but for everyone who loves to read, everyone who loves a good story, everyone who's a parent, everyone who's a teacher, everyone who just enjoys literature. this is a place to come. So come join us every Monday on A Dead Man's Books.